If you could achieve any goal without any limits, no limitations, what would it be?
I'd make America a white country again. That's
sorry?
what I'd do. Make America a white country.
White country?
Obviously, I'm a supporter of this administration. I'm a daughter of 2 immigrants. I'm a supporter of immigration when it's done the legal, correct way. And I think immigrants have done an incredible a bit of good, let's just say, for our country, including my own family. So I don't think there's an anti-immigrant sentiment. I think it's an anti-illegal immigrant sentiment. I would say.
She's so naive, or she think we naive. Either way, what they do, it's your boy Luck. I'm staying swift to keep from getting swift, you feel me? Appreciate y'all tapping in. But y'all just heard what Nick said. They are against non-white immigration. That's what they are against. Like, let's stop playing games over here, man. Let's stop playing games.
July 4th weekend.
It was interesting to me, to your point.
A good chunk of why Donald Trump got elected is because we have a problem with illegal immigration. I'd say most Americans actually agree on that. They disagree on the level to which it's bothering them and what they want to change. But I know a lot of people that thought that birthright citizenship was a major problem and who voted for President Trump assuming he might be able to make some kind of a difference. I think with this ruling right now, I think people are really disagreeing on what it means. I've heard a lot of people say this is the end of this topic, and I just don't think that that's the case. I know a lot of people on the Republican side who are now saying, what are the workarounds? What comes next? And I hope that people realize that's actually going to be the next step. I think this issue is on the ballot, actually, in one way or another in November, because obviously.
I take issue with the arguing and the destruction of the 14th Amendment is actually how people want to reform our immigration policy. I agree with you that people were dissatisfied with the last administration's immigration policy and they want to change. And I do think that's the main reason why Donald Trump won. I don't think he won because of the repealing birthright citizenship.
No, just immigration in general.
I do also think that I come on this show often and I am debating people who have different ideologies with me, and there are a lot of attacks thrown at folks on my side of the aisle, and we're called radicals and that we hate this country and that we want to destroy it. And yet this very administration is trying to destroy the Constitution, and that is radical. That is a hate for this country. That is a hate for what our founding fathers stood for. And so I just want people to just take a second and think about how aggressive this administration is. We do need to fix our immigration policy. It is not by changing the Constitution and the 14th Amendment, and that is why the Supreme Court struck it down today.
Right, that's a good point. They are the radical ones. They're trying to rip the Constitution apart. They want an autocracy. They want fascism, sis. That's what they own. And it's time for us to recognize.
This should never have made it to the Supreme Court. I mean, I was in college. I'm not sure if you were born yet. I was in college when Pat Buchanan wrote a book called The Death of the West.
Oh,
do you remember that? Samuel Huntington. The whole anti-immigrant wave didn't happen overnight. Trump just basically picked up a $500 bill on the floor and said, I'm going to go run on this.
Facts. This is Buchanan and what's that guy named? John Tanton. Tanton Bank wrote a lot of this stuff. Tanton. I call this shit Tanton Babel. It's a whole network. All of this shit, anti-immigration, the white man being replaced. This shit is, they took OSHA from the 40s and brought it back in the 90s.
That a president can just sign away a part of the Constitution is basically what the court knocked down today. And even this idea that people like Ted Cruz are saying that Congress retains the authority to clarify federal law, and he says it should act immediately. It's actually not the case, right?
Right, Abby. It's as if he cannot read. They explicitly said the opposite. They expressly said the opposite, bro. This has been codified. It's over with. Right? This is somebody who's performing.
Right? So Justice John Roberts, here's what he said specifically. What the Civil Rights Act began, the 14th Amendment would finish. Like the Act, the 14th Amendment was intended to repudiate Dred Scott. This time, however, the goal was even grander, to put the question of citizenship beyond the legislative power altogether and settle the issue once and for all. He goes on.
Beyond the legislative power, brother. So everything Trump said was performative. And why don't y'all just go about it the right way?
Write a law and make the 14th Amendment go away is not supported by this rule.
Our entire study of constitutional law is essentially a study of how the first 10 amendments, the next 17 have been interpreted and changed over time. We have incorporations of the states of some of those amendments. We have different interpretations, for example, of the Second Amendment from what it specifically says. There's a constructionist argument, there's an interpretive argument. So to say that the Constitution is never challenged is absolutely
That's not what I said. I said that.
But you did say that. How could the president?
That's not what she said. You strawmanned her entire position. She said that the way that he's trying to go about it, it's not the way to do it. That's not constitutional. And people who say they want to uphold the Constitution or want to be conservative or whatever, they're supposed to care about things like the Constitution or the practices that were set in place by who they say that they give reverence to, the forefathers. But it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be you guys want to do some other shit under the guise of that.
Challenge the Constitution. No, it happens all the time in the Supreme Court.
I didn't say that the president couldn't challenge it.
How could the president?
It's just that the idea that the president could nullify the 14th Amendment
he took an action.
Is clearly what
the challenged him on constitutional grounds.
Court repudiated today, and they also repudiated the idea that Congress could do it. The solution, here's the solution. I'll give it to you. It's a constitutional amendment.
Sure.
Right.
And there is a process for that. It's a hard process, but it does exist. So I don't know. It seems like Republicans are not being honest with what it would really take to make a change to birthright citizenship.
We have
different.
Ooh, cook them. And that's what I'm saying, Abby. They don't understand that for themselves. They're in a psychosis of warped reality. Right? So these people can tell them this dumb shit and they'll believe that this is how it goes. That man know that's not how it goes. He just admitted it. He said, yeah, you're right. The way to go about this, you're not doing it the right way. You trying to do some brass dictatorship style bullshit, brother. We're not going for it. 6'3". Some people want to give it 5'4", but it was really 6'3". Let's see what Nick got to say real quick. I ain't finna be in here all day.
White, yeah.
White is right, bud.
That's okay. All right, let's go.
How dare you?
You can stay.
Now, what that means is that if one of those votes went the other way, then that means we could have probably changed the federal statute and made birthright citizenship against the law. If just one of those votes went the other way, it could have been the 3 liberals and Justice Roberts. And if Amy Coney Barrett went with the other conservatives, that would mean there would have been a 5-4 majority saying that you could overturn birthright citizenship in the federal law, and there would be a call on the legislature to do exactly that. If 2 of the conservatives in the other decision went the other way, like let's say Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh, then birthright citizenship would have been overturned. Period. End of story. It would have been overturned in the federal law. It would have been overturned in the Constitution. You would have no more birthright citizenship in America. And what is so painful is that those 2 judges in both of those decisions were both appointed by Trump. Your 6-3 decision comes by way of Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, both of whom were Trump appointees.
So because Trump appointed them, they're supposed to have allegiance to Trump, not the Constitution. Listen to these guys. This is their rhetoric. This is what they really believe. They're not true conservatives. They're not Republicans. These are accelerationists masquerading as something else. They're trying to get an autocracy. They want an ethno-white national ethno state. They believe that the country the citizenship should be based on nationality. These guys, they envy Jewish people. They want to have an ethno state.
So who can we blame about this? Think about it. You had a Republican president, President Trump, who was empowered throughout his first term to appoint 3 Supreme Court judges. You had a Republican Senate for all 4 of those years in Trump's first term to confirm those judges. You have right now a 6-3 majority on the court. You have 2 very conservative conservatives and 3 Trump appointees. That's a 5-4 majority. And you have Trump as president all over again since 2025. What more do the Republicans need to carry out our vision for the country? Think about it. 3 Supreme Court picks, a majority on the Supreme Court, the Republican Senate confirming.
The dweeb sounds defeat. Listen to them. They have visions of this ethno-state. They thought electing Trump, speaking in dog whistles, was going to get them this ethno-state. They was going to deport all the Browns, all the blacks with felonies. Then they was going to deport them. This was their vision. They was going to keep some blacks that didn't have no problems, but they got to only procreate with themselves. This is the vision that they've been talking about since the 90s, since the 80s. Really 82, when they started pushing back, right? They started pushing back on all of the civil rights work. That's when they started pushing back in the 80s. But that's a different video. I'm finna get up out of here, man. We're gonna listen to Nick cry for a little bit more. I'm finna get out of here. Shout out to Supreme Court holding it down.
Senate, all 3 of them voted to shoot it down. What's the excuse? You can't blame Democrats for any of this. Democrats had no say in the selection of these judges, no say in the confirmation of these judges, no say in a hypothetical federal statute, no say on the executive order. This failed because of Republicans. This failed because the Federalist Society picked shitty judges. That's where they came from. Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, who disappoint us all the time. These are all from the Federalist Society. They were all confirmed by Mitch McConnell's Republican Senate. They were all nominated by President Trump. So there's literally no excuse this time. Because this is what always happens. Whenever Republicans fail to deliver on their agenda, on their promises, there's always some way they can blame the Democrats. And it usually sounds something like this. They say, well, we didn't control the House that time. Or we didn't have a supermajority in the Senate. Or it was a Democrat president. Or they'll say it was a Democrat Supreme Court. They always have some excuse like this. They say, and that's why, in spite of the Republicans' incessant failure and disappointment, you have to keep voting no matter what. Because if Republicans fail to deliver, it's because they just didn't have enough juice. It's because you didn't vote hard enough. You didn't give them the majorities they need. They need a bigger majority in the House. They need a bigger majority in the Senate. They need both at the same time, and they need the White House, and they need the federal judiciary, and they need the Supreme Court. Isn't that what they always say? So what exactly is the excuse here? Who can you blame it on? What bad personnel, bad advisor, lack of representation? Where can you place the blame? You can't. You can't. That was 2 Trump-appointed judges which sank this. If Trump appointed better judges, it wouldn't have been like this.
More than 60 seconds and not commit ritual suicide on air.
Yeah, well, thank you for the huge super chat. Did I touch the mic a lot? I don't know. I like the microphone as a prop, but I appreciate the massive super chat. Yeah, that was rough. Listening to women talk, I just can't. Not to be like based, but I can't listen to women talk. I just can't. They got nothing to say. You talk to women and you realize they got nothing to say. It's not just their voices that are annoying, but they got nothing to say.
And like that, you're back to being a little incel twerp. All right, man, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I'm going to say the rest of these clips for a different video. Appreciate y'all tapping in. It's your boy Luck, man. I'm staying swift to keep from getting swift. Shout out to the Supreme Court for holding it down, man. The Trump maggots are crying, to say the least. I'm finna get up out of here.
Thanks for the slap, Ali. I prove it to myself before I prove that shit to you. I was out here thugging, I was supposed to be the one that stayed in school. Got kicked out campus, dorm got searched. They think I robbed the bank. Got me feeling like Tim, cause I swear this shit done came the harder way. He swear he pee, but he only gon' fuck cause that boy got a car and a chain. He wanna hate the player, but he really know he need to hate the game. I was taking trips to the left coast with the bows and trying to make a name. I thought I was on the right path till a troll got behind me and hit the lights. Pack touchdown in Gainesville like I'm Percy, telling me that I'm more handsome in person. I been found my purpose, can't pop me no perk. I tapped in some shit you can't reach it like cursing. I'm tapping some shit you can't see to believe in.